Hey, welcome to Coffee with Bones Fork Solutions. I'm Adrian, President Bones Fork Solutions, and since we're talking about gun stuff, I have John.
What's going on, guys?
And who are you?
I'm John with All Saints Firearms, President. All your gun needs.
All right, wonderful. So what we're going to do today, obviously, we have some optics out. We're going to talk real briefly about optics, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so first thing, what I want to do, this is real basic. You know, this is just purely to drive your interest, okay? So let's take a look at a scope, first of all. You've got several things. First of all, this here is the farthest part from your eyes, okay? This is the objective lens and the objective bell, okay? When people talk about the power, the diameter, I'm sorry, not power, did I say power?
Yeah.
Yeah, the diameter, this is what they're talking about. So if it's like a 3x9 by 50, which this one isn't, the 50 is the size right here.
Yeah, sorry, it's referring to your objective lens size.
The ocular lens, the eye ocular, is right here. Normally you want about a 3-inch eye relief, but we're going to talk about some things about that later. Okay. Normally, what you'll have is you'll have your traditional turrets. Normally, most scopes have 2. This one has 3. All right, we're not going to get into turret usage and stuff like that because that's a discussion for hours, okay?
Another video.
Yeah, so, and then of course you've got your magnification if it's a variable. This one here is a 10 by 40 power with the 50 millimeter objective lens. And then this one here has a battery housing and it turns on because this has a illuminated reticle. The other thing is the barrel. The barrel is important because this tells you what size of scope rings. This is a 30 ml barrel, and they come in what, a 40?
So you can go 34, 35, 30. 30 is the most popular tube size.
Yeah, it's just important that you understand what the barrel is for when you buy your scope rings. Now, you know, it's always funny, you know, well, why are you talking to me about scopes? You know, where does your expertise come from? So real quick, I'm going to toot my horn here, all right? In 1985, I graduated from Marine Corps Scout Sniper School. I was a sniper in the Marine Corps for 4.5, 5 years, went into the Army, was in the infantry as a sniper team leader for 10 years, went to Army Sniper School, then went into Special Forces as a detachment sniper on 2 different detachments. So having said that, I think I'm competent enough to talk about scopes. Now, the funny thing is scopes change all the time, okay? So, you know, a lot of stuff, you know, from what I used, the stuff they have now is phenomenal. What we're going to, and the other thing that we're not going to talk about today, we're not going to talk about the difference between minutes of angular MOA or mil radians or mil rads. That's a whole complete ballistic discussion later. All we want to do is talk about the basic characteristics of scopes and some tips to think about when you're buying them. And the first one, obviously, you need to know the best position on your rifle where to mount it because it has to be comfortable, all right? And if it's too far forward, it makes it heavy. If the barrel is too big, then it can interfere with the operation of the weapon and damage it, okay? The other thing is it will determine the height of the scope rings that you need, okay? So when we're talking about it, as you would say, the where you put it and the barrel size has a big importance as well.
Not only that, but eye relief.
Yeah, the eye relief is important.
Eye relief is secondary to making sure that your weapon functions, and then you need proper eye relief.
Absolutely. I'm always afraid about scope relief, so I always have the habit of putting it a little bit too far forward for the first box of ammo, just especially on a new gun that I've never fired before, and then I put it to where it belongs. But having said that, a larger barrel will require a higher scope rings, and that will affect your cheek weld or your stock weld, getting it back in place. And then, of course, the eye alignment, it messes with that. When I was in the Army, using the M21 system, which was the match grade, you know, they weren't designed to have scope on them. So we would take maxi pads and stack maxi pads on them and then wrap them with cloth so that we could elevate our cheek up, you know. The weight, let's consider weight for a moment. Most of your smaller, your 3x9s and stuff, are up to about, between 12 and 15 ounces. Your heavier diameters go from 16 to, I want to say, 21 ounces. This is 31 ounces. That's a heavy scope. And that's important because when you get it on your rifle, now your rifle becomes top heavy. Okay. Let's talk about glass.
Absolutely.
So
when you're talking about glass, most importantly is the higher.
What type of scope is that?
So this is a Night Force,
okay,
and it is a 5-20 by 50. The objective lens is 50. So the important thing when you're talking about glass is the bigger your objective lens gets, the more clear you want your glass to be, because the more it can affect your target.
Right. So a larger diameter allows for more a brighter image. But the other thing is the coatings that they put on the lenses are important as well to retain the eye, to retain the amount of light that goes in, and also to stop glare and stuff like that. Magnification settings is important when you're talking about 40 or 50, and there's some reasons why. And this is what a lot of people understand. They say, I want the biggest lens I can get, right? Because what that does is that lets me see things real big, and I've got a big view. And that really doesn't magnify anything. What magnifies is your 10x9, 3x9, or this is a 10x40. Your 3x9s, your fixed 10 power or fixed 12 power. That's what does it. All this does is give you your view, your angle, your field of view. But what's the important thing to think about here is you have to understand the eye relief, or not eye relief, the pupil diameter size. Most people, when they're your age, are between 6 and 8 millimeters. Okay, that's how wide your pupil can dilate. Now, for me, mine's about 4.5, 5 millimeters because I'm older. And to get the maximum dilation, most of the time you got to wait in a dark place for 30 minutes. So why is that important? Most of the scopes here are designed to give a maximum amount of light at 10 inches away. So how much the light your eye can take, because you'll have overwash. If for example, a 9x50 gives you 5.5 millimeters of light. Well, your eye can only handle 5 millimeters because that's how wide the diameter of your pupil is. So you've got 0.5 hitting the whites of your eye, which doesn't do you any bit of good. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So what happens now is as it gets darker, your larger lenses on high power, you have to actually dial them down in order to get more light into your eye. So when you're hunting late at night, that's where it comes into perspective. A 3x40 gives you 13.3 millimeters. Now, as the light diminishes during the day, your range diminishes as well. So your ability to see light through a scope, just because you have this big lens doesn't mean you're going to get more light through, but you're getting more than your eye can handle, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now, the big lens, absolutely. You have a wider field of view and you can get on target much quicker. But when you're shooting long distances and the light's starting to fade, or the light's just coming up in the morning, that's where these lenses, you have to dial down on the power, which means I can't see clearly out to 1,000 meters if I'm on a 3-power scope because I've only got 60% illumination. Make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Wonderful. So that's what I really wanted to talk about about the scopes is how does the objective lens work compared to the magnification? What are the main parts and pieces? What are things to consider? Okay. So, John, what did you bring us?
Okay, guys. So I brought a couple things. One, I brought this high powered, well, almost high powered Night Force, and then I brought this low power variable optic.
So when you're talking about high power, low power, what are you talking about with that?
We're talking about magnification when we're talking about high power versus low power. So this magnification is 5 to 20, and then this magnification is going to give you a 1 to 6.
Okay.
And this is great for any M4 system.
Medium range.
Yeah. 308, 556, 300 blackout, all that stuff. This is going to get you out. You know, it's always a debate how far a scope will get you, but
I believe it's the individual.
Yeah, it's always the individual. But you're safe. You're safe out to 300 plus with something like this, and then with something like this Night Force, it should get you all the way out to 1500.
Real quick. So what I've got here is I've got a Leopold 3x9 Patrol. Oops, sorry about that. It's the VXR, and it's a 3x9 as well, and it's got a 40 millimeter objective lens. When we're talking about a 50 millimeter, 40 millimeter, understand both of these will reach out to 1,000 meters easy. Absolutely. All day long. Okay. A lot of the neat things like this has a illumination in it as well to make it a little bit easier. And you can tell if they're illuminated, they'll have a little battery access cap on them. But so this is a good long distance. Now, we're not talking 1,400 meters. I mean, for those, you got to have a 50. Yeah. But for this one here, a 3x9, 1,000 meters all day long. Now, the other one, what was that one there? The Vortex? A 1 to 6. That's your, if you're going to hit 700 meters, you could hit 700 meters with that all day long, you know.
Most of the capability is going to be within the rifle itself or within the firearm itself. So that's where most of it's going to come from.
They have a saying, if you have a $2,000 rifle, you need a $2,000 scope. Okay, I don't agree with that personally. Okay, I really don't. Here's why. Okay. Yeah, these are, what is that?
I think that one's
$1,100, $1,200, $1,800 scope.
Something like that.
This is an Osprey, $300, and it'll shoot. If you get a competent shooter on it, it'll shoot just as well as that one. Okay, it really depends on the individual. You don't have to spend a crap ton of money on scopes. Now, it's nice to have the latest and greatest, but you know, it is what it is. You
use what works, people.
The biggest thing people say, well, what's the best thing that influences what scope I could buy? It's your wallet, okay? If you can't afford a Night Force or a Vortex or a Leopold, go with an Osprey, okay? And really from there, you know, long distance shooting and stuff is nothing more than doing the exact same thing every single time.
Consistency.
Now, what if we're not going to be shooting long distance? I've got an M4. I've got a bolt gun. I don't need 2 long distance guns. So what sight should I use then?
So my personal favorite is going to be anything within 100 yards. This is my absolute favorite right here. This EOTech. It's got a 68 MOA ring, and then it's got a little, I think it's a 5 MOA dot in the middle.
MOA is minutes of angle, that funny thing we said we wouldn't get into. But it's nice to know what the characteristics are.
Well, that's the characteristics of the reticle. So it's got a pretty nice reticle. I really like it. And
comparatively, most scopes have like 10 MOA or 15 or 20 that you can get big scope over 20.
Right.
Anyways.
There's this, and then you have your other options, which I have this one mounted on a pistol. Go ahead and double check me there.
Clear.
Cool. Okay. So this one right here is a Trijicon RMR, and it gives you a little dot in the middle. And I think these are great. You can put these on just about anything. I wouldn't put it on a bolt action rifle though. But you could if you wanted to.
Put a quick reflex sight on a bolt action gun. That's really smart.
But you could put these. Obviously, I have it on a Glock 19 here. But you could put it on a rifle with a little different mount. You could put it on a shotgun, which I think is fun as hell. And then, of course, anything with a Picatinny rail, you can mount these little red dots on.
Now, that's not to say you can't take a small scope. I see a lot of like 357s, things like that, where people put a scope on it. For me,
Those
kind of,
44
it's fun to
Magnums.
shoot, but it defeats the purpose of a pistol. If you need a scope, do yourself a favor and put it on a rifle. Okay, that's not to say you're wrong. Don't get me. I'm not saying you're wrong if you do that. My daughter absolutely loves shooting a 357 with the scope on it. It's her favorite gun ever.
It is fun.
I just don't have use for it.
Not a whole lot of uses for it, but they are fun.
Yeah,
so.
they're fun to shoot. She gets out there, and I hate to tell her, honey, if you take that off, you can do the same thing, you know. So, but this is scope. So John has the ability. All Saints Firearms. We can order these scopes for you. You know, we can order the
Hopefully-
rifles. We can order the ammo.
Hopefully, we'll be able to do Night Force soon, guys. As of right now, we're not able to get Night Force in, but hopefully soon.
Okay. So with that, you know, there's a lot that you need to know to shooting long distance with scopes. There really is. I mean, leave it to snipers to weaponize math, right? Okay. But there's, you know, you got to get into minutes of angles. You got to get into how the turrets work. You know, and you got to keep your logbook, and you got to get a lot of data. So
Get out
we
there
can
and put your hands on some.
Yeah, we can get you the scopes. We can get you the rifle. We just got a customer, a Remington 700, 2 days ago. Yep, and he's happily pleased with that. And then when the training, that's what Bones Fork Solutions for. Like I said, former Marine, former Army sniper. We teach long distance shooting. The only problem is here in Utah County, it sucks because you got to drive an hour and a half north to get a good range, or you got to drive an hour and a half south. So in order to get a good range,
Even though there's plenty of
yeah,
land everywhere.
even though there's land everywhere, yeah. So anyway, get your scopes and stuff from All Saints Firearm and John. You can give us a call, John. What's your number?
801. Ooh, man, let me double check for you guys so I don't give
While
you the
he's
wrong
doing
number.
that,
Yeah.
while he's doing that, courses and stuff. And by the way, if you have a question about weapons and stuff, you can also go to the Bones Fork site, which is www.bonesforksolutions.com. Bones Fork phone number 801-874-4337. John?
All right, it's 801-851-0430, and you guys can get a hold of me anytime in between 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock.
Great. And in closing, we just want to give a quick shout out. We're not a sponsor. We're not affiliated with them, but we love Black Rifle Coffee. Okay. It's great coffee. You know, when you shoot, you got to have a good cup of coffee to go with it. Black Rifle Coffee. And thanks for joining us. Next week, we're going to talk about suppressors. All right. Wonderful. Out.